Why isn't this? Is my screen being shared at the moment?
Not yet. I can't see it. You can try that desktop thing.
Okay, for some, my screen is not being shared.
Okay.
Okay, seen why. Yeah, I'll have to leave the call and join again for me to like give permissions to this.
We are setting up, guys. We're setting up. So the next 2 minutes will be good to go. So just be patient a little.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, cool.
We are about to start, guys.
So I think we can just like kick it off, and yeah, since it's recorded, they can always watch it sometime later. So yeah, today it will be more going over the basics of Android with Kotlin, building a simple app. We look at the objectives a little later on, just to get like an idea on a high level what will be happening. So about me, I've been doing Android since 2016. That's like three years, I guess. Currently, I work with Trivago as an Android engineer. We deal in accommodation search and finding deals, comparing with very many accommodation providers, like Expedia, Airbnb, etc. Other than that, one of the Google associate Android developers. I did my test, I think, last year or beginning of this year. I can't remember. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it to my Android CV at the moment. And I think we can kick this off, Kotlin and Android. So yeah, initially, before we used to do Android apps people still do their apps in Java, but as of the Google I/O of 2017, Kotlin was announced, or rather the Google announced it as one of the official languages to be used with Android. And so from 2017, now there were like 3 languages: Kotlin, Java, and C++. But as of 2018, I believe, or 2019, it got first-class support. Now, what does first-class support mean? Basically, whenever they develop new libraries, whenever they come up with like new stuff for the Android developer community, or basically what that means is it will be done for the Kotlin, in the Kotlin language first, then the other languages will follow. So if you're actually using Kotlin, you have the advantage of staying on the cutting edge technology that comes up. Also, Kotlin has its own a lot of benefits. It's one of the JVM languages, similar to Java, Scala, Groovy. It's also what's known as a statically typed language. And Kotlin has also a lot of benefits. I think the more you use it, the more you like experience and see them, as compared to maybe how we are writing our apps in Java. Like we do not like do Pojo classes, if you're familiar with. We have like a one-liner for that. We have things like extension functions, which you can just extend functionality that's not provided to you. We have things like null safety is like part of the language. In Java, probably you've done if something is not equals to null, but in Kotlin, it's somehow part of the language features. And yeah, there are like tons of benefits of like using Kotlin to Java. Also, Kotlin Kotlin also cuts across object-oriented programming. If you're already familiar with it from Java, you can still do it in Kotlin, or you can also switch to a more functional programming style with Kotlin. So that's basically it with the language. But now there's the Android platform. I think we're all familiar with what Android is. I think most people use Android phones. So this is basically like the home to your app. And the apps which are going to write are going to be in Kotlin. And I think right now the latest Android version is 11. And also when you're making our apps, we think about all these versions, like will you support this version, will you not support this version, but we'll also see how that is done later on. So let us start with building a very basic or simple application with Kotlin. So first things first, I do believe my screen is being, oh yeah, I'm still sharing. So first thing you need is to install Android Studio. That's like our work tool every day. This is what I use on a daily basis. You can use IntelliJ, but I don't know. But the support is not as good as Android Studio, which has like been specifically made for Android development. And there are also some features which you might lack in IntelliJ, since it's more of a general. It's more of a general purpose IDE and not like specialized as Android Studio is. Also, if you are thinking of using a text editor, your life will be hard. Things like VS Code and the likes do not cut it unless you are really good with working on the terminal and not being able to see a preview of your apps, etc. And so how do we install this Android Studio? So I think a long time ago, it was like you had to go and, okay, some people still do that. You have to go to like Google, and you had to go to like Google. Let me minimize this. So there are a couple of ways you can install it. If one doesn't happen to work, you can just search for Android Studio. Yeah, and there'll be this download Android Studio. Yeah, you can just download it here and set it up. But there's also another tool, which the JetBrains is the company which makes this cool IDEs. They have this tool known as the JetBrains Toolbox. You can also just search for it and install it. Once you do, you'll see something like this once it opens up, and you can install whatever IDE you wish. I find this to be very simple, even for like straight up beginners. You just look for the JetBrains Toolbox, install it, and select the Android Studio you wish. So for example, there'll be like this install, but since I've already installed, you can't like see it. Then you can select which one you need. But if you are starting out, I will recommend you installing this. Do not like install the canary versions, install the stable versions. It will be less of a headache for you, like if you are starting out with this Android thing. So we have installed Android Studio. It will install all the tools you need. It will install what? The Java environment. Like I said, like Kotlin is a JVM language, and we need like the JDK and all that stuff for it to be able to like compile the code, etc. So all that needs to be, that will be part of the setup as well, I believe. So once it's installed, you will see a similar window like this. Once Android Studio is done, there'll be such a window open up, and you can create a new project. I'm assuming like you've never created any Android app, so there'll be nothing over here. So you'll just see like an empty space over here, and it'll be create new project. Click on that. Then we can select empty activity. These others you can explore in your own free time. What does the Google Maps do? What does the settings do? What does the tabbed activity do? Yeah, there are a lot of templates already provided for us if you want to just like create something real quick. But for now, for starters, we can go with the empty activity. So the next screen you'll see is the name. This is now like the name usually when you go to Play Store and you're searching for the app name. This is what you'll see. So we can call this like the Kotlin Basics. Then there's something called a package name. This has to be unique. It's sort of like your app's ID on the, and once you upload it to the Play Store, this will sort of be like your apps, yeah, sort of like your apps ID. So if you upload your, if you do change your package name and you upload your application again, it will be seen as a different application. So whenever you're creating the package name and you upload it to the Play Store, always be keen on that. You can't just change it once the app is in Play Store. So we can call it let's say DSC Kotlin Basics. Choose a place to save it. And as you can see on the languages, we have Java and Kotlin. Yeah, and also mention C++, but that has its own different use case. So we'll be choosing Kotlin. Then the minimum SDK. Now this is the Android version that your app will support upwards. So if you choose, let's say the latest one is Android 11. Anyone who has Android 10, 9, 8, and below, like they can't use your application. Only people with Android 11 and above. But sure, you can say like, then if that's the case, why not just put it at API 16 or like Android 4 Jelly Bean? Sure, you can do that, but you'll have a lot of headaches. Like you won't have some features. You won't be able to use some features. Or making some features work will be a headache. You'll have to think of all these different new things that have been introduced. How will you add them? How will you navigate? All this complex. There'll be a lot of, in short, there'll be just a lot of complexity. And also we can't like please everyone also and have like 100% of devices. So to be on the safe side, us personally, you use 21. Some people use 23. You also have to think of, when you're choosing this, you also have to think of who you're creating the app for. If you're creating it for like people who don't have like really high-end devices, then sure, you can go for the really low APIs, like Android 4, if people are still on Android 4. Or if you're like creating apps for like high-end devices or like a strong economy or something of the sort, those are some of the decisions which drive which maybe API version you want to use. So maybe if like most people in a certain place are on the latest Android, maybe now you can like put 23 or 24. But for now, we'll just go with 21, since that's where most of the cool stuff started happening. And finish. Then you wait for Gradle. Yeah, so there's something called Gradle, which sort of like it's what handles building your app, compiling. It handles all these tasks for you. basically. Yeah, we wait for it to. Oh, it's done. And it's done. Yeah, cool. Sometimes it might take a bit long, and I don't know, can put like some background music as you wait. Now. We have the Android Studio is open. You've opened our project, and this is the file that will be open, the main activity. So if you've ever created like the basic Java app, usually have this something called a main method. So this sort of follows, it's also like the same idea, like the main activity. Like when you open the app, this will be like the first sort of screen that you'll see, but we'll see how the screen is designed and all that. But basically that's the idea with main activity. And there's this, I think first before I like dive into the activity, just look at the project structure. So when you come here to the top, is this my, yeah, to the top left, if you have selected Android, you'll see like by default it goes to Android, but I'm going to change it to project so that we can see all the individual files. Yeah, we created a project inside the folder called Kotlin Basics. This .gradle, you can just ignore it. These are just for, just ignore it. And then there's the .idea. This is just for the Android Studio configurations. For now, we don't care about that. I think the main folder that concerns us mostly that you should be interested in is the app. So when you create like the first app, like your first basic app, you're going to notice there's this folder called app. This is where your source code lives. This is where your layout for the screen lives. This is where we add our third-party libraries. Let's say if you want to use, I don't know, some library Facebook made for some ML stuff. There's somewhere within the app folder where you can just add it. This is where basically everything happens in the beginning. And so there this is like one of the most important files. I think if not the most important is the build.gradle inside the app folder. There are two of them actually. There's the outer one, and the outer one mostly is used to configure the whole project. If you have, but that's something for later. But the one inside the app is used to configure like this app module specifically. So this is where like our configuration lives. You see, like for example, you selected the minimum version you want, which was 21. Like you want to support Lollipop. That's basically Android Lollipop all the way to Android 11. Basically, Target SDK means this app was tested on like Android 11 and we know it's working fine. If like Android 12 comes out, yes, our app will still work, but we are not sure if it will be like 100% compatible. So for us to be sure, we'll have to like increase this number each time like a new Android version pops up. Then the version code and the version name, this is basically, yeah, the version number you usually see on apps, like this app is 5.2.3 or 1.6.4. So that depends with how you want to version your apps. And then there's this, the package name, which I was talking about, the application ID. So if this, you can play around with this if you've not like uploaded your app to Play Store, but once your app hits Play Store, that's it. You can't change this. If you do, that's a different application that you're sending to the Play Store. It's not the same one anymore. And what else is of importance here? This section with dependencies. So this is where we add our libraries. For example, you can see like Kotlin standard library. This provides us with all the Kotlin basic Kotlin features. There's material, if you want to use material design, constraint layout. We'll see what that is in a few. Then there's also like for testing, which we won't look at now, but it's something worth investing in. It pays off. So this is basically where we add other external libraries. You can also create your own libraries once you're like comfortable or confident enough in what you do. And yeah, I think those are like the most important parts that you'll be interacting with as you start looking at the build.gradle. The others will just, you will know them with time, what they do and what's the importance. So we have the build.gradle. Next, under this app folder, we have a folder called SRC. This is the source, basically. This is where we have the tests and the main folder. So I'll just explain briefly what these three folders are. Android test. These are tests done using something called an instrumentation device, or like this. Basically, these are tests which are run on a device, an emulator, simulator, something, basically something which the user interacts with. And they are more visual tests, UI tests, and unit tests do not go here. So unit tests are something which can run independent of they not rely on like a device, or for example, testing if something was saved to a database, like you do not need a device for such. So such tests live in this one, but things which are like dependent on like some user interacting with something, some interface, they go under the Android test folder. Then for the main, this is where now your source code lives, your layout lives, and you look at something called the Android manifest. But I think we can start with res. Yeah, I think res is where we put our layouts, our visual, basically all our resources from, I think there, let me see the options that they do have here, Android resource directory. So here is where you put your animations, your colors, your fonts, your layouts, your menus. Raw is like, well, maybe audio files like MP3s, MP4s, values. Yeah, these are like values. This can be like, for example, dimensions or strings. For example, if you have an app in like 5 different languages, you might have strings in English, Swahili, Brazilian, and all those other languages under these values, and so many more which you like get familiar with as you progress in this Android thing. So basically, this is where they live. So just to highlight the ones that have been created for you by default, drawable. This is where like our visual media basically lives. Anything that you see like icons, images, etc. Visual media, they live under like the drawable. Layout, this is now like the layout for our screens. Then there's this map, HDP, Excel, and all this, like 6 of them. So this is where our the app icon that you see on Play Store, right? So it has all this different HDP and all this XXX stuff, because we have different, like we have very different sizes of Android devices, right? We have like 3-inch Android devices, we have tablets, we have 5-inch phones, we have Android Auto, we have Android TV. So like This basically is a way of providing the launcher. Usually people use it to provide launcher icons in different sizes. So this can be, I can't remember what H means. I think high density pixel or something. So like there's different densities of pixels for each, like different device size. Like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like for example, XXX HDPI might be, I don't know, for a TV or something. And this MDPI might be maybe for your normal standard phone, or the X might be for a tablet, etc. And yeah, you can look into that later on. And the values, as I'd said, like, yeah, your colors for the app, the strings, for example, the app name, it can be this way in English. I don't know if it can be another way in like Brazilian or Swahili, and the theme of the app. And there's also values. You can also like if your app, if you're pushing it to like the latest Android versions with dark mode, you can provide like alternatives. Like if it's dark mode, use these values. So you can just like create another colors, strings, themes. So once like the user switches to like a dark theme, this night will be used. And that's basically by the default ones that Android Studio creates for you. So we have, that's basically it with the resource called res in like in short, the res folder. Now we can go to the Java. You see, like it has the package name we created and the main activity. Now this is like the entry point, right, for activity. And you have something called Oncreate. So basically when this screen is created, the code over here will be run. So this is called the first time like the screen is opened. And this is one of the, there are things called like life cycles, etc. And so like the Oncreate is the one which like the moment the user like opens the screen and it's created, the code over here is run. So if you want to do like something the moment like the screen is open, you do it over here. And the first line of code that you see, set content to view, what this does is it takes this layout and shows it. Basically, it's just telling it like set the content on this screen. So we already given it a layout. So this layout is what will be used to like show the moment the user like opens the app, like show this layout. Basically, that's what it this does. And if you want to see this layout, we go to res, like we said, like this is where all our resources live, layout, and there's, you can see there's this activity main activity. Also, we've noticed something. Whenever you create an activity, the layout name will be like almost inverted. So it will be, if you create like main activity, the layout will find this activity main. You can change this if you want, but by default, that's usually how like most people do it. So yeah, activity main, and you can see our layout here has a text called hello world. And I think now one more file that's important under the main is the manifest. So this is like the moment you like up, it like holds, it has like, it's like at the table of contents for your application. Like it says the app name is this, the package name is this. Basically, it's like an ID document for your application. It knows all the activities that you have in your application. It knows what theme your application is using. It knows what the location to the icons that will be shown. So the manifest is like, yeah, basically it's like the table of contents or like an ID document for your app. And yeah, I think that's like basically it in like simple terms. And as you can see, the main activity has this thing called intent filter, and it has something called launcher. So what this means is the main activity is what will be like the launcher activity. You can have like even 30 activities, but we need to know which activity will we be showing when we click on the app icon, like which will be the first activity the person sees. For example, when you tap on WhatsApp, the screen that you first see is the okay, ignore like the splash screen, like the screen that you first see, like the main activity is like the chat list, right? So like the other screens maybe like for the status and all other settings, change your profile, but we need to know like which is the main activity basically. Where do we start from? And like this launcher, this is basically what this like intent category launcher means. And so to see this basic activity with our hello world hooked up to our main activity here, we've set content view. We just come up here. So if it's your first run, there won't be anything here unless you plug in your what is it? You plug in your device to your laptop and enable USB debugging. Let me show you how to. I don't know if mine is connected. Just a sec. Let's see if it's connected. Settings. Why is it not showing? Advanced developer options. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I don't know why I can't see my phone here, but what you can do, let me try and run this. So when you go to your device settings and go to system settings, wait, no, not system. Hold up. When you go to your, where is it? Just look. Okay, I don't know. I think it depends with how your device is. Once you go to build number, you need to tap it like 7 times, then you are now a developer. Yeah, just look for where build number is, tap it like 7 times. Then once that is done, go to like system. I think this also varies with the device, but just look for the build number and tap it 7 times. You'll see something that will pop up in your Android device. Developer options. Click on developer options. Then look for this USB debugging. So what this does, whenever you connect your phone to your laptop and you come over here, you'll see your like phone listed and you can like install your app and test it on your device. If that is not possible for you and your laptop has good specs, I think at least 8 GB RAM and above, and i5 or i7 or something greater than that, you can come to the Avd Manager. Then once you come to the Avd Manager, there's something called Create Virtual Device. You can click on that, select a phone. They usually just pixels. Yeah, select like a Pixel 3 or 2. Once you do, click Next. Then they like show you what's recommended. You can like install the latest one, which is R. Click Next, and it'll like create these devices for you, the ones which you can like see here. And that's once it's created, you can now see the device you created on this list. And you can just hit run and your app will be installed to one of these devices that appear here. And so this is now our basic app. I've run it and this is the result. So let me just run it again. Don't succeeded. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, it has like installed. Oh, it's on. Yeah, I think it's black because I have dark theme on. Let me just remove it since we haven't like gone to dark theme. So when you run your first basic app, this is what you'll see. So like you've seen, like this is the main activity. It has the hello world here. So if you want to like come and change the text or change the layout, just come to activity main. You select the, for example, that. Then there's this thing called attributes on the right. So if you're starting out, you might prefer using the attributes. Also, you can go directly into the XML and like edit it. But I think for now, we'll just like use the attributes, the attributes tool. So we've selected this. For example, we want to change the text. There's this thing called text. Maybe change it to our basic Kotlin app. Right? Maybe we want to do what else? Maybe change the color. So we'll look for something to do with text color. Text color, where's text color? STTX. Hey, where's text color? Is there a way I can search this? Oh, cool. You can search for attributes. Did I select? Oh yeah. So you can also like search for attributes here, and I can change the text color from like black to maybe, I don't know, something like pink or red. Yeah. Also, you can change the text size, like make it a little bigger. Select this and say size, text size, and maybe put. So the dimension, the unit for text is SP. Yeah, we don't use like pixel dimensions here. It's not, you can, but it's not like recommended because of different device screen sizes. So it'll look a little weird if you use pixels. So SP will somehow be ported for each device accordingly. So you can like set it to a huge one, like 21 SP. Yeah. Okay. And if we run, so there's this, like, you can just like search whatever attribute you feel like changing. Yeah. And yeah, there you go. Our basic Kotlin app. And so that is something called a text view. So there are different types of view for like different, depending with your need. If it's text, we have text view. We have patterns, we have image views for images. We have something called a recycler view. This is what almost, I think, every list you see, Twitter, WhatsApp, Reddit, Gmail, Telegram, like all these lists are usually just like recycler views. Fragment container view, this you can put like a star on it. It's something to do with fragments, which is out of scope for now. Then there's scroll view. For example, if it's like a really long text, automatically you can't scroll. It'll just be cut off from the screen. So if you want like this text to like scroll, you can put like a scroll view around your text and it'll just scroll and scroll and scroll. Switch, yeah, switch is just like a switch on, off, yes, no, sort of stuff. And this is basically it for the views that I think basically this is like the most views which you'll be using every day. because I think text view will be your most used view. And for things to do with layouts, yeah, there are a lot of other types of what are they called, views that you can look into. For layouts, I think, which is the next important thing, is we have this layouts over here. And I think the ones which you can pay attention to now are constraint and linear layout. So for now, for example, this is constraint layout. I'm constraining it. That's not the best way to put it. Where I'm positioning it is relative, or it's dependent on something else, basically. For example, if I remove, how do I remove? Yeah, I've removed. You see, for example, it's not constrained to the top, so it just goes all the way to the bottom. Sort of imagine Superman holding two bridges which are falling apart, right? If he lets go of one, he can get inclined to the other side, right? Let's say if he lets go of the left bridge, he can fall off to the other right bridge, right? So he's no longer constrained to the left bridge. If you get, basically that's how constraint layout works. And so you see, if I constrain it to the top, exactly. If I remove the side, basically that's the idea. You can have even another view and you can constrain it to, you can constrain views to one another. Yeah. So basically this was, constraint layout was brought to help make our work easier, just constrain things all over the place. But you can look deep into it. It has a lot of stuff. So let me just return this where it was. Wait, what did I miss? Oh, I'll figure that out later. But yeah, that's constraint layout in a nutshell. We have linear layout. Linear layout comes in two. You have to specify something called an orientation. So if you set the orientation to horizontal, things will go from left. How basically Twitter or IG stories are, from left to right, they're horizontally, they're following each other linearly, horizontally. But vertical is top to bottom. Basically that's it. Frame layout, that's if you want things to overlap each other, something on top of another thing. Table layout, I think that's straightforward if you want table sort of view. Space, I haven't interacted with space, but I think it also makes the direct, it's direct here. So we have seen the layout, project structure. We've seen how to run our app in our device, or how to create an emulator to run it. What the manifest is, test is, Android test is. Now to the adding some logic, right? We need to add some logic to our app. So this was our layout. I think I'll just delete this. And you can create the simple dice roller sort of application. And to do this, we can start with an image view, right? To show our images. So I'm just gonna take this, drop it there. Oh, I need to select a default image or something. Cool. So that's our image view. We can want it to be at the top, constraint to both sides, and a little down there. Cool. Next, we want a button where when we click, we can like see, when you click this button, it like rolls the dice. So I can put this somewhere there. Drag it a little down, concentrate it to the left, to the right. Yeah. Then we want to like change the text on this button to roll. So I can just come and search for the text attribute and call it roll. Yes. Yeah, so basically when you want to hit the roll, you want the dice image to like change over here. And we need images. Like remember I said like drawable is where we put our visual media. So we'll need dice images like when it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So we will copy and paste this. I think I'm going to just copy all of this. Oh, copy. And put them over there. Yes. So we have images for all 6 type of all 6 faces of the dice. So we can set up preview for this so that we can like see what we're working with. If you want to like see a preview of your image, I don't know how the attributes do it. Usually just go to XML. I write, oh, they've already done it. There's this tools SRC compat, and I'm just going to set it to the dice image just to have a look of how it will look like. Nice. So you can see like it's really huge. So we'll have to like reduce the size of this. And so there are 2 other important attributes which you must always add. Whenever you drop something here, there's 2 attributes you must look out for. You want things to like fit layout width and height. So if you put like match parent or match whatever, means it's going to take let me show you. For example, here, if I put like layout width match parent, this is the parent basically. So anything that's inside, see if like these 2 things live inside this layout, right? And if something lives inside something else, the outside one is the parent. Hope I'm making some sense there. So wrap content means it's going to maintain its size. It's only going to be as wide as it can be and as tall or as tall as it can be basically. And we have a problem with that because it's like taking up the entire screen size. So we can put another way of dealing with this is putting hard-coded values. So we can just put like 100. Yeah, you see, like 100. That's how we like trim it down to size. You can use hard-coded values, the match parent thing, or the wrap, whichever one works for you. And I think now it's cool. So we have the image view and we have a button. So we have a button and you have the image view. So each time we click control, we want the image to like change maybe to a random 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, and they somehow need to be in sync, right? We need to know which button are we clicking for this to happen. So there's also this important attribute called ID. And ID is what helps us to like know which button are we clicking, which image are we setting, which text view are we changing, which checkbox are we, like they need IDs to know, for us to know what exactly, which view or which, what exactly are we updating. So this role, I think I'll just change this ID to role button. Yeah. I'm going to change this image view ID to dice image. So we now have these two IDs. They have already like been done in the layout, but how will our Java, or rather, how will our Kotlin main activity know about this? So there's something, we'll just come here and do val. So this is how we create variables in Kotlin. There's val and there's var. Var is something that you can change, but val, once you create it, you can't like change it. It's something called immutability. You can't change it anymore. And we do not plan on like changing our IDs or anything to do with the image view once the app is running, right? So it like makes sense to use val. So we can call this like dice image view. Its type of image view. So probably if you're from Java, this might be weird. Image view, and our ID was R. So this R class is like holds pretty much the IDs of yeah, it like holds our IDs, and it's created when the app is being built, and you cannot edit. Yeah, you can, but it's not. Yeah, you'll just be screwing your app if you edit the add class. So add.id this image view. So if you're from Java, probably you're used to something like image view, image find view by ID, like, and having like something of the sort. This is for the people who have come from Java. I think something of the sort. I can't remember. It's been a while since I did. I probably have something of the sort. So this is like its equivalent. Yeah, there's image view. It's type of an image view, and actually, it seems like I can remove this if I have this here, because it's like repeating myself, saying image view here and image view over there. Then we can have the other one was the role button, and I call this a button. Find view by ID. This won't be necessary. We have this here. So add ID dot role button. So we now have like the IDs to our button and the image view, right? So each time we like click on the button, we want to update the image view. And so how do we do this? We can set something called a click listener. So what this does, whenever someone like clicks the button, on the role button, we can do something. So just for a short demo, we can see if it works. Make text this, and was clicked and we want it to be shown for a long time, then we show it. So if I now go ahead and click the roll button, this should be shown. Yep, so now when I click, why is it not? Oh, yeah, it was still loading. So you can see like I was clicked. Each time you hit roll, it says I was clicked. And so, yeah, basically, click to access. Okay. Yeah, so as you've seen, we've added our images. We went to the activity, added an image view, drag and dropped it from here, dropped a button, changed the IDs so that we can be able to like, so the ID of this image view, the ID of the button, roll button. Then we went back to our activity, find the view that has this ID, this image view and the roll button. Now we have access to both. Now when you roll the button, we do something with this. So now the next thing to do is setting the image view. So I think rather than have nothing here, we can have like a default. By default, we can just put it as the, yeah, we can use this as the default rather than, so there's, where is it? When you're dealing with image views, there's an attribute called src. Yeah, you just click on that image and you want it to be that one by default. So if we run it next time, it's not like blank or empty. Yeah, so you see now we have something. So but if you roll, it's not like tied to changing this. So that's the next thing, hitting the roll and having the dice button change. So we are going to go back to, this is done in code. So what you want to do here is change the dice, change the dice image. So first you're going to do is dice image view set image drawable. Right, remember these are the drawables, the visual media. So you want to change the drawable to use, I don't know, either, let's say for example, r dot this one required. Oh yeah, this is the ID of the drawable and not the drawable itself. So I can say is drawable. Then they're like these helper classes, which Android already gives you. And you can say we want this. And this is to help us access this. You can't just access this directly with the ID. I'll need to go through this class over here for me to, it's like a helper class, helper method rather, to get the drawable. Then I put this drawable. So each time I click it, by default it was this one, so maybe you can see if it works with like this 4. When I click it, it will like change it to this 4. Nice, see, like it changes. But now we can't like roll anymore. We need it to be random and keep on changing our dice numbers. So for us to randomize this, we can now like create another drawable. Also, before I move further in terms of the syntax, You might have seen us done set on click listener and then like open like this weird, what are they called? Brackets. So in the Kotlin, you have something called high order functions or lambdas, and they take in some code to execute basically. You can check up on high order or lambda, or if you have like a specific use case which you're trying to understand, lambdas or high order functions, you can just reach out and I'll try my best to explain what they do. So we want to randomize this dice number. So we can say draw, let me like call it random drawable ID and random drawable ID. I'm going to create a function that generates this these IDs for us randomly. So this is how like Kotlin functions begin with something called fun. Then the function name. Then you put the brackets. This is where you write your parameters if you have any. Then the return type. We want it to return integers because the IDs are like ints. And you open your brackets, write your code in there, and return whatever it is you need to return. So I'm going to return random ID, right? So we have this thing called a when expression in Kotlin. It's similar to a switch statement, basically, if you are familiar with Java. So random, yeah, we want to get like a random and yeah, random next int until. So what this next int does is it's going to take a random number from 0 to 5. 6 is not part of it. So it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are like 6 numbers, and we have 6 dice faces, which is sufficient for us. So when it's 0, we want to return this. When it's 1, we want to return this. When it's 2, return this. When it's 3, return C, etc, etc. There is 5. Yeah, when it's 5, return this. 6, else what did I miss? No, it's actually, yeah. So yeah, when it's 0, return this. When it's 2, 3, 4, 5, return that. But our fallback is 6. So if it's, I don't know when actually it will be out of scope, but this is just for taking extra caution in case, which I doubt it will ever happen though. Yeah. And so yeah, it's private because we are only using it within this class. The only accessors we have in Kotlin are private, internal, public. I can't think of any other, do we? I only think it's private, public, internal. I can't. I don't think there's any other that like comes to mind. So we can now test it out. So this function gives us a random ID. Then each time we roll the dice, it's changed, etc. Let's see how that works out. So it's 1, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 2, 1, 5. Nice. 4, 6, 2, 3. Oh, nice. So as you can see, it like goes through random dice rolls, and that is like pretty much how we tie like the logic from the layout all the way to the code side of things. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much it, like an overview of the basics and other things which maybe I might have be also like looking for a job as well. And that's it, I guess. Yeah, I think we've pretty much gone through the milestones and we are done. So we can do question answer session.
David, that was a very exciting session.
Yeah, thanks. So if anyone has any question,
Well, maybe how do you avoid using the old syntax, that is Java? How do you differentiate between the old syntax and Kotlin?
yeah, so nice question. So Java, when you write Java, it's really, you find yourself writing more object-oriented programming style. And Kotlin is, yeah, you can still do object-oriented, but it leans more to like functional, more concise, like shorter, less code to write. So I'd say it's a matter of reading more Kotlin, just reading, even if you don't like understand exactly what's happening in someone else's code, but read other people's code. If you don't understand the code, then you can like, it's you're able to like reach out to whoever like wrote it and make have them explain it to you. It's, yeah, it will take a bit of time to like switch the mindset. It doesn't happen instantly. Yeah, but basically it's more of reading, other people's code. There's also a really nice course on Udacity. Yeah, I think Udacity and Google partnered to produce some Kotlin course. You can also check it out and get like started and think more in a Kotlin way and move away from like the Java bad behaviors. Yeah, it's basically that, asking someone else, probably. Yeah, I think trying to get it solo might be a little challenging, but if you have like someone you can like reach out to, that's Kotlin, or if you're a group who like do Kotlin, you can, yeah, you can like brainstorm and see, okay, I wrote this code like this in Java. Can it be better in Kotlin? Can we write less in Kotlin? Can we, like, if you ask yourself these questions, can we write less in Kotlin? Can we write it better in Kotlin? Is this already like provided out of the box in Kotlin? Yeah, basically that will be like the first step towards writing more non-Java code in Kotlin.
You got a question from Victor Kabata. So maybe you can tell us a bit about working in Germany as an Android developer.
Okay, so wow, there's so many things. First off, I think the opportunities here are quite a lot. You can even receive. I think first of all, I think it's the opportunities here that are extremely high, and like talent or really good devs are hard to come by. And if you actually do get most companies I'm seeing, you actually do get dev, keeping them is also something that's really challenging. So yeah, like the job security is really good, the pay is really good, the opportunities are really good. What I don't know if there's something specific about the Kenyan that I would like shed light on, but yeah, the work environment so far, okay, personally, I think my work environment is really good and open to like making, you can make mistakes, learn from them, and still learn. I'm like thinking if there's like something specific, because it's still like the same, it's just the same code you write. But one thing maybe I can like emphasize on is being grounded in the fundamentals. If you want to compete maybe in the international market, be grounded in the fundamentals, like know the ins and outs, know why you're doing something, not just like taking it from Stack Overflow and like copy pasting it and calling it a day. Because for example, we are like a team of 6-7 engineers. We all have like a responsibility of maintaining that code. So you can just copy paste something blindly. You have to like tell us why we should like consider the code like you've written. So you really have to like also know why you're making certain decisions, why you're choosing a certain architecture, why did you choose this library, why not this library. Yeah, so each decision you make, you have to like also think in terms of long term. What else? Yeah, code quality has to be like top notch. Okay, not top. Like you have to. There's a certain guideline like the team has set that you have to follow. Everyone has to follow. You don't just push code anyhow, if I'm to put it that way. Yeah, things like testing. If you've never like given a thought at testing, testing is also something that can really differentiate you from other developers. So if you haven't like started thinking about testing, and recommend you start. It's never too early to start testing. Even the sooner you start it, the better. What else? I think it's a great experience so far working with an international company. Paul Jaroge, I have been working for a startup in UK as a remote dev. I'm done in the startup for now. What would you recommend to do in writing? Okay, that's a bit open-ended. What would you recommend for generating this production code? Okay, like if you're the only one, I'm assuming like probably you need to like push an MVP or something of the sort, like a minimum product. And if you're like solely in the team, like I don't feel a need to like put a lot of restrictions as big teams have. You can like push a code fast using like you don't have to put a lot of stress on like building, I don't know, using some architecture with lots of, basically I think if you're solo, my perception is they want you to it's like a flagship sort of product, I guess. So I'm not I don't know how to answer that question because it feels very open-ended, unless if there's like a specific scenario you want me to shed light on. Yeah, the architecture part. Okay, for if it's like an application that let's see. First of all, if you are shipping it, you need to ship it as soon as possible. I'd say no need to like be so strict on yourself as far as architecture is concerned, because you need to ship for you to actually stay in business. And technical debt can be sorted later on. But if like there's time for making, if like there's a really long, big or enough time frame, and you've already like set out, you already like have an idea of what you will be doing or have an idea of the project roadmap, and you feel like there'll be enough time, you can actually set out to have not exactly like a perfect, because I don't think there's a perfect architecture, but just something which if you are to leave the job, someone else will like jump on it. Doesn't have to be like the strict MVVM, MVP, just something which just have a sort of structure which like the next person, or if the team grows, it will be easy to onboard the next developer, and it won't like take them like 3 weeks to understand what's happening, because architecture actually plays a big part. If someone is able to like join the team and start delivering 2 or 3, that's really, it means like the architecture is good, basically. So yeah, I have no like concrete just like just write write the code in a way that the next developer won't be cussing.
Well, is there any other question? Okay, David.
Mhm.
As you are starting this, there's a guy who asked about why I saw that message. I don't know where it's appeared to. It was saying you should explain to us why we should use Kotlin and not Java. So yeah, I know you have answers to that.
Oh yeah, I think I was already like talking about this when the session started. So first things first, Kotlin was officially announced as the one of the languages it's supported for Android development in 2017 by Google, and by 2018, 2019, it was given like first class support, meaning first class, like it's a first class citizen, meaning everything that will be produced or churned out from the Android team will be Kotlin first. They'll be like focusing on the Kotlin things. So if you actually want to stay or want to use some of the new features, or most libraries actually like switching to Kotlin, new libraries will be in Kotlin, Jetpack stuff will be in Kotlin. So they'll first like address the Kotlin segment first. They'll give updates to the Kotlin group first before they start like porting things to Java. So yeah, even Java, you like have to take a back, like Java is now like taking a back seat as far as priority in Android development is concerned. Another benefit of using Kotlin is it compiles to like Java bytecode rate, and it's interoperable with Java also, like out of the box. But I wouldn't say the inverse is possible. And also, like Kotlin provides a lot of other benefits, right? We have null safety being like part of the language. It does not actually remove NP errors are still there, but this is usually something which is people are misinformed. What they're correct thing to say is like null safety is like baked, it's part of the language. And the code you write is more concise. For example, Pojo classes, we have data classes. How you write singletons is not the same way you do it in Kotlin. It's just like a one-liner. Basically, I think a lot of concisiveness has been introduced. Also, the part with the coroutines, I think, and RX Java is slowly becoming deprecated as time goes by. More people are switching to coroutines. Also, in terms of job security, I think personally, I think in Germany currently, like almost all the job posts I'm seeing, most of them want Kotlin 100 developers. And the good thing with Kotlin is it's not just used on the Android platform. It's a general purpose like cross-platform. You can use Kotlin on the web. There's Kotlin multi-platform where you can, which I think is now like the big thing currently happening. You can have one code base for both your iOS and your Android applications and just share the business logic. There's a Kotlin for desktop. There's that's like Kotlin native. Like Kotlin has so many advantages, and the list just keeps growing day by day by day, and the community also just keeps doubling up. And I think even when you look at the new libraries coming out, or the articles being written as well, most of them, the Java ones are getting archived or lost day by day. And soon, like maybe even for this, maybe in the coming few years, like Stack Overflow support for like Java Android questions won't be as much as the Kotlin Android questions. So like there's so many reasons why you should like if you haven't made the switch, you should make it as soon as possible.
Okay, so I don't think there's further questions. So so David, maybe you have something else to add, like after we finish the meeting.
Well, I think there's what I'd recommend if you're like starting out in Kotlin or are interested in, there's Udacity like sort of boot camp or short course. You can finish it in like a weekend or 2 weekends. Yeah, okay, depending with your experience, maybe with doing programming or coding in general. They have really, what is it? They have a really nice course with really nice projects, which I think can help someone after the end of the courses. After the end of the course, you can they have like these projects which you can build on, which can help you like build your skills basically. I think I'll share the link later, or you can check that out. How to choose the right DB for your app. So by DB, for your Android app. Okay. So basically, I think because I don't think is that backend question, or because Android, all the Android like DB just fall back to SQLite, so it's basically a matter of convenience when people go for ORMs like Room or use Realm or something just for convenience. At the end, the underlying thing is just SQLite. Yeah, so ORMs are just basically for like convenience of storing things. Because if you go for SQLite, I think there's a lot of low-level setup that you need to do. Setting up contracts, I don't know, and a couple of other stuff, which when you use like an ORM, for example, like Room, it does all this behind the scenes for you. All you have to care about are your queries and how you access your data. Basically, yeah, basically the ORMs, the purpose of the ORMs is letting you focus on the business logic and not care about like the internals of like setting up your database. But if that's more of a backend question of why to use, I don't know, NoSQL versus SQL, I'm not sure the best answer for that. Why would someone go for NoSQL or SQL? I haven't worked with backend at scale, so probably someone who's done backend with thousands of millions of users might be able to answer why they will choose SQL over NoSQL in terms of backend related. Things you wish you knew when you started working. Things I wish I knew. Okay, I think I'm going to start with like dealing with deadlines. I think setting in terms of deadlines, it's a matter of what I've come to learn with deadlines is the time usually like set for yourself. Chances are you always 90% of the time you'll miss it. So I usually add like a buffer period where I will have some flexibility, or that because there's some days your mind is also like not into it. Also, I think depends with like how your organization is also set up. If it's like a sprint, or if it's like okay, if you're working in a team, I think the sooner you address an issue or something you don't get, the better. We're using like sprints. I think we're doing your development in sprints, like the agile sprints. I think there are channels to like address this, or if you're using like the Kanban style of doing things. That, for example, for us, we use like Kanban, and like deadlines are not. We just pick whatever is high priority. There's no like fixed time to like deliver it, so it's not much of a pressure in terms of deadlines, and we like it. But if you have like a sprint and you have like 2 weeks, we have 2 weeks to like deliver. So like the sooner you actually have an issue, the sooner you have the thing with the agile methodologies or frameworks are, the sooner you have like an issue or a blocker, you should like address it as soon as possible, so that you do not have like a backlog. Or yeah, basically you have to work with also like the knowledge that even if you can't also, if you like, let's say you have like a 2-week deadline and you want to deliver a certain feature and you have no clue on how to do it, you do like I think like doing the research during the sprint is not like the best thing to do. the best thing to do is research before you add that task to your sprint or to your backlog. I think that's one thing that I've come to like learn. Yeah, I think I can add that to like things I wish, like don't just start something, put some time for research, because you might actually just like dive into something thinking it's possible and it's not. Then it ends up taking like 3 weeks, 1 month. You get stressed, everyone is stressed. There's too much pressure, you hate your job, everything just starts like dragging and it sucks. So I think putting more time into research is like the top thing I'd like put there.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you, David. Guys, if you have questions, keep them coming. Maybe we have maybe some 3 minutes to go. We already over past time, 34 minutes. But okay, I'm sorry if we took much of your time. No further questions popping up. It's David.
Hmm?
It was great having you, and we are looking forward to having you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope I have answered everyone's question. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, so yeah. Thanks guys for joining the meeting. It was amazing to have you all.
Thank you guys. Bashkuru sana. Thank you David. Tutakuita tena na tena.
Asante.
Check this chat. Well, I also appreciate those guys who are not from Chuka. We have Victor, Paul Njoroge, and some others. Thank you so much, guys. Steve Miner, I can see you are requesting
Okay, let me
a
go.
link. Well,
Share it here.
okay. Well, you can see the link. Thank you very much. Okay, till next time.